Natalia, and today I'm going to show you how to make these Easter bird balls here. They're super cute to have displayed together with the rest of your Easter decor because they add a degree of playfulness and of course cuteness, because just look at these. But if you don't celebrate Easter, you can give these away as presents for children for their birthdays or just surprises. And you can also give them away to bird enthusiasts because not everything has to be that serious. So if you like to see how these are made, stick around and let's just get started. First of all, we need to cut out the pieces of the stencil, and you can find this stencil at my Facebook page, linked down below. Now this stencil contains 4 different pieces, but the beak of the bird should be a different color. Now place the rest of the stencils on the felt. Then start sketching around the stencils, and be aware of the one shaped like a droplet is the wings and should be drawn on twice. Then cut out all your pieces. We also need the beak, so take the stencil for the beak and sketch around it and then cut it out. Now it's time to sew, so thread your needle and then make a knot in the end. As you can see, there are some marks from the pen on the body, but that will just be facing inwards with the stuffing. And the same goes with the wings, but that will just be facing downwards on the body. Now place the wings at an angle on the body, so when it's sewn on, it looks like a wing. And remember to place it on the side without the markings from the pin. Then take your needle and start underneath the body and wing. Then start sewing a running stitch all around the edges of the wing. Now we need to end this stitch before moving on, and I still don't know what this is called. But what you do is you make a stitch, a regular one, but without pulling the loop all the way to the end, because you need it to lock the whole thing up. So put your needle inside the loop and then spin it around a few times and then pull. Then you will have made this no-name lock, and then you can cut the rest of the string off. And now we just need to repeat the same process with the other wing. Now we need to sew the tail on and the bird itself together. So thread your needle with a lot of string and then make a knot in the end. Now take the 2 sides of the wings and then gather them. Then start in the beginning and start sewing inside the bird to hide the knot. The stitch you should be using here is something called overcast stitching. But when you're sewing, you should only sew to about the pointy end of the wing, because that is where the tail should be placed. So fold the tail in half and place it inside the bird. And it's only about 1 centimeter that goes inside the bird. When you have sewn all the way up to the tail's position, you need to make a couple of running stitches across the tail. When you're across the tail, you need to continue on to making the overcast stitching all the way to the top. Now when you're at the top, you need to attach the final side to these 2 sides. And attach it especially to the one side where your needle is hanging from the thread, because you need to sew it together using the overcast stitching. So continue on sewing all the way down to the end and leave one of the sides open for the filling. Now that you've reached the end, you need to place your fingers inside the bird and then sew inwards into the bird, because you need to make the so-called no-name locking stitch. So what you do is you find the stitches from the wings and sew the lock right in between the stitches. By doing this, you won't leave any stitches outside the bird. Now it's time to fill it up, so fill it up with a handful of cotton, but don't fill it up completely, because then it will be hard to sew the bird together. Now once again thread your needle and make a lock, and then start from the top of the bird and make your way down with the overcast stitching. And once again start inside. Now continue sewing until you meet the wing, because you need to fill it up with the rest of the cotton. So line up the sides and then start sewing. Now when you have reached the wing, fill it up with the rest of the cotton and then continue on sewing downwards. You need to make it as ball shaped as possible without bursting any stitches. When you feel like your bird is stuffed enough, continue on with the sewing. And then continue sewing all the way down to the end, where you make the same kind of no-name locking stitch. But this time you make the stitch in between the two sides and then make your lock and then tuck the rest of the lock inside the bird. Now what is left to do is to give the bird a beak and some eyes. Then take your glue and then glue on the beak. And then draw on the eyes. The last thing to do is to make it stand and not fall over all the time. As you can see, in the bottom of the bird there's a little triangle, so place your finger in the middle of the triangle and push all the sides inwards. By doing this, the bird will stand on itself, and when it does, you're done with your Easter bird! I hope you enjoyed watching and thank you for leaving a like, I really appreciate it. And if you have any questions you want to ask me, leave a comment in the comment section down below and I will show you the reply afterwards. And if you want to see the upcoming videos, you need to subscribe and be a part of our lovely DIY family here at the Blue Toolbox. So subscribe, and I will see you soon with more ideas. Bye!